Hello, welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me for today's video where I am going to be answering some of your recent requests with a how I currently style my hair routine. Now, I know that lots of you have been asking about my hair colour. It is actually looking a little bit darker than usual, and that's because last night I did a full head dye, whereas normally I just do a bit of a root touch up, but I did a full head hair dye. I use box dye at home, and I will list the description, or rather the brand and colour name, down below in the description box for anyone who is curious. It is the same colour as you normally see me in, but it's just that because it's fresh, it normally takes a couple of days, or rather a couple of washes, to tone down a bit. Now, today's styling is for this sort of bouncy-esque sort of blow dry that I do with my hair, and I just want to mention before I get into that whole process that this kind of hairstyle is down to your hairstyle, it's down to the cut. So again, for anyone that wants to know what I ask for when I go to the hairdressers, I have long layers, some slight feathering here at the front because I have curtain bangs, as you can see. And yes, they slightly, but not fully, graduate into the front of my hair here. And then you can see like this movement here is some slightly shorter, but still quite long layers. And layers are definitely the key when you want that kind of movement in your hair and that very bouncy 90s blow dry look. So now, without further ado, let's get stuck into my current routine. Okay, so once I'm out of the shower, I usually wrap my hair in a towel until I'm ready to dry it. I'll give it a brush through to get any tangles out, and I use a classic wet brush, which is great for my hair because I've got fine hair. I just have a lot of it. Next, I always pop some heat protector spray on, as I do use heat to style my hair. This one in particular is from GHD, and I got this with one of the hairstylers that I have, so basically I'm just trying to use it up. I don't have a particular go-to heat protector. I sometimes like to try new ones, so I will list all of the ones that I've used and liked down in the description box below. So first, I just give my hair an initial rough dry with my hairdryer, which is also GHD, so that it's about 70 to 80% dry. If I leave my hair to air dry naturally, it will dry with my natural waves and a bit of frizz, so I prefer to dry it with a hairdryer just to keep it smoother. One more brush through with the classic wet brush, and then I start by sectioning off my hair. So I usually do it in 3 sections, the first one of which is the very lowest portion of my hair, tends to be the bit that's just at the back of my neck, and then the rest is twisted and then secured on top of my head with a claw clip just to keep it out of the way. Now, lots of people have been asking about how I get the shine to my hair. I always think it's easier with darker hair to have shine anyway, but I have been using this Dream Coat Super Natural Spray by Colour Wow. So I take sections of about this size roughly, and then give that a few sprays to coat the full length of that section, and then brush through both sides to evenly spread it out. Now, this spray does have to be activated with heat, so if you don't use heat on your hair, then it will not work. I use a couple of different hot styling brushes, the first of which is this Revlon one-step volumizer. Now, this has quite a large brush on the end, so it's great for giving a bit more volume to limp hair. It blows out hot air like a hairdryer, so it's basically just an easier method of doing that traditional blow dry or blowout, but with one tool rather than having to hold a barrel brush and a hairdryer. So as you can see, I placed the Revlon brush right at the root underneath for volume, and then turn so that the hair starts to wrap around, and then start pulling it away from my head slowly so that the hot air can dry that section of hair. I keep the hair relatively taut just so that that spray can really activate the smoothing effect. effect. I do this a few times until that section is dry and then move on to the next. Often at the end of each section, I'll wrap the hair all the way around and hold for a few seconds before releasing, just to get a bit of movement in the lengths. I then repeat this process for the next mid-section of my hair, using the same Revlon one-step brush and again clipping the remainder on top of my head with that claw clip. Once the midsection has all been sprayed and dried, I then move on to the final section, which is the top and my curtain bangs. For this section, I have more layers, so I usually swap to a different brush just to get more movement in those layers. This is a Babyliss Volume Hot Air Styler, and it comes with a hairdryer nozzle along with these two barrel brush heads, one slightly larger than the other. I prefer to use the larger of these two. So I usually save my curtain bangs until last, so I just clip those to one side as I start working through each of the sections of hair. I use the same process as with the larger Revlon brush, but as you can see when I release from this brush, it definitely gives more shape. I do sometimes use this brush for my whole head if I have a little bit more time, but because it's not quite as large as the Revlon, it can take longer. So just using the Revlon for those other two layers of my hair just saves a bit of time. This brush definitely gives my hair more movement, and you can play around with it to give your hair the kind of natural bouncy waves that you like. Now my hair holds shape really well because it's fine, but you could also use rollers after using one of these hot brushes so that it then cools in the desired shape if your hair maybe doesn't hold very well. Once all the top sections are done, I then move on to my curtain bangs. So slightly controversially, I dry mine forward, so up and over the brush and sort of towards my face, rather than the popular method of drying backwards away from the face. With these hot air stylers, you can do both, and it just gives a slightly different look and different shape. I give a little bit of a lift at the front of my curtain bangs, and then I try not to add too much curl as I'm coming down the lengths. Sometimes it can take a little bit of fiddling around with and going over a few times to get them just right, but with these hot brushes, it's so easy to do. And here is a full 360 of my hair. As mentioned at the start of the video, when I go to the hairdressers for a cut, I ask for long layers and then mid-length curtain bangs, which are then feathered slightly into the front sections of my hair. The layers give it more movement, so when dried like this, it can give the effect of more volume. And once again, everything I used is linked down below in the description box. But for now, thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time.